feel today? Ask yourself this question. What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! We ready! We ready! We ready! We ready!
We're gonna get you an intro. We're gonna get you an intro song.
Send one message. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. Football is getting hit. That's it. It's gonna be football now. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's hunt now. Let's hunt now. Let's go. Let's hunt. We ready? I'm going to the house.
What's up, El Michelle? What's up, CJ?
Like we're talking about the Saints. You know, all this kind of we the mind.
El Michelle said, my boy. Garrick Jones.
It's time, man.
Y'all get out and vote. Y'all get out and vote. Vote.
You go.
You already make the big money. He's a man. I'm calling you step on the field, man. That's who I am.
State of Texas Supreme Court candidate.
When I step on the field, I send one message.
Need some diversity on that too.
Oh, absolutely. Tons of it.
What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
We ready? I'm going to the house. I'm going to the house. It's a wrap. Game over.
No, this game is just getting started right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. It is Throwback Thursday. I'm AJ Jones. I'm rocking Jackson State JSU today. Y'all already know what's going on down there, but I had to bring my guy in, man. This dude right here. And Garrick, you blowing up. I'm just letting you know. Garrick Jones, former member of the Houston Texans, former NFL player, former CFL player, founder and commissioner of the SDFL, and candidate to be a general manager for the Houston Texans or an NFL team. I'm driving in, and all I'm hearing on a whole nother station is your name. Somebody called in. Big Domino, I don't know if you know him or not, but Big Domino called another radio station and said, yo, how about Garrick Jones as a GM candidate for the Houston Texans? And man, that brought joy to my heart. And the host of the show just said, yeah, man, I know Garrick Jones, and that's a businessman, well organized. He's put together businesses. He's put together entire leagues. He knows about front office. He's got a great relationship with the players. And I'm telling you, pride just was building up in my heart. Ladies and gentlemen, Garrick Jones, how you feeling, bro?
Man, I'm feeling good. I'm good.
Brother, let me tell you something. I don't know if I thought we would be here this soon. I'm serious.
Okay.
A couple of Mondays ago, last Monday, I did not think that Cal McNair would do what he did in the middle of a season. I mean, we're 4 games in. I felt like it was going to take an incomplete season to fall apart before Cal would have decided to do what he did. But obviously, I thought wrong.
Right. Well, it's one of those things, man, where the people begin to speak. And with the people speaking up and the players finally getting to a point where they understood what needed to happen, everybody came together and made it happen, you know, and I think that was the deciding factor for Cal, because there's only so much that you can do in allowing, you know, what was going on to continue to happen. Yeah. And to go ahead and sever ties right now was a really good thing. It was something that, you know, reaffirmed to people that they are being heard, but it's a lot more work to be done, man. And I intend to be the voice for that.
Absolutely. Again, Garrick Jones joining us here on the lunch break. When I listened to Cal's press conference, I mean, I got down there that day. When I listened to Cal's press conference, you know, he gave a lot of grace to Bill O'Brien. He thanked him for his time, thanked him for his accomplishments, acknowledged the 4 AFC South championships and the playoffs and everything. But then he started talking about a couple of other things, that the Texans have the highest payroll in the NFL, higher than Kansas City, higher than New England, higher than all these other teams, and they're 0-4. And all of a sudden now you start peeling the layers back to the onion and say, oh wow, interesting. And then to hear about the arguments. Just heard yesterday that there was a very loud argument between him, J.J. Watt, and Anthony Weaver. And again, I'm not saying J.J. Watt gets preferential treatment, but come on now. I mean,
it's just like I say before, man. It's all about leadership. It starts and ends with leadership. You can have all the horses in the stable. I'll continue to say this. You can have all the horses in the stable, but if you don't know how to ride, you're wasting a lot of money. And that's essentially what happened. I mean, we have a roster of athletes that can go to the Super Bowl. People don't understand that. It's all about how you connect with them. It's all about how you get the best out of what you have. And those are the things that needed to be brought to the table. And unfortunately, they weren't. And Bill O'Brien painted himself into a corner, man, and he couldn't get out, and that's what that power, that absolute power, breed absolute corruption. And eventually people saw it.
Let me tell you, Garrick, I got to be honest with you. I agree with you 100% on part of that. We'll come back to the roster. I'm a former branch CFO of a Fortune 100 company, one of the top countries in the world. And I would always tell people, be careful what you ask for. Because once I give you everything that you ask for and you don't produce, you already know what's going to happen after that, right?
You got to go.
And I tell them, you go ahead and do what you got to do. I'm going to give you everything you ask for. But once you get it, there is no more excuse on the failure to produce. Is that what Bill O'Brien ultimately ran up against?
Absolutely. And that, I think that demise, he knew it was coming. He knew it was coming. And when you give people that type of power, the NFL is a what have you done for me lately elite. It's all about production.
Right.
And if you aren't producing, you got to make a move. But unfortunately, as players, they always bring people in to push us to be better competitors. To replace us. And competition is supposed to breed that winning attitude. And unfortunately, that wasn't going on in the upper management. And that's what's needed. You have to have people that are into checks and balances and that will hold you accountable. And that wasn't happening. But once he got that power, he figured out really quickly that he was in over his head. And people saw it.
Yeah, again, just hearing Cal McNair right before I walk in say they're going back to the traditional model of a general manager.
Absolutely.
From the head coach. The general manager will report to him, Cal McNair. The head coach will report to the general manager, who reports to Cal McNair, and then they'll try to go back with that traditional model. Garrick, we'll come right back. I want to go back to that roster discussion because you say that they've got a roster to compete for a Super Bowl. I'm going to ask you about that again in just a couple of minutes. Garrick Jones joining us here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. If you want to get in, 281-453-1000 is the number to dial, 281-453-1000. It's Throwback Thursday here on the lunch break.
This is Parole T. Robinson. When people say my vote doesn't matter, when you don't vote, your vote counts against you. The other side gets a vote. If you want to fix our broken criminal justice system and reform your local police department to make it more accountable, you need to vote. If you want to increase economic prosperity in the black community, you need to vote. If you want to protect the right to vote, you need to vote. If you want more funding for our schools, you need to vote. Voting does matter. If Black Lives Matter to you, you need to vote. Early voting begins on October 13th and ends on October 30th. Election day is November 3rd. You need to vote. We all need to vote. If you don't vote, it will matter.
Paid for by the Communications Workers of America, District 6. Claude Cummings Jr., Vice President.
Attorney spokesperson representing a team of lawyers who've helped people that have been injured or wronged. Have you been diagnosed with cancer? Are you one of the millions who have taken Zantac or other generic versions of this popular drug to help treat stomach issues? Then pay close attention to this message. The FDA said it detected low levels of a probable cancer-causing chemical known as NDMA in Zantac and other generic forms of this popular drug. They've banned sales and even removed it from the market. If you've been diagnosed with cancer and you've taken Zantac or a generic equivalent, call the legal helpline now. You could receive a free cash award and have your medical expenses covered. And there's no upfront cost to you. They only get paid if you win. So please call now. 800-251-7816. 800-251-7816. 800-251-7816. That's 800-251-7816.
The legendary
One more.
KYOK
Oh, good.
92.3 FM. The legend continues.
Hi, I'm Larry Scott, host of the Not So Christian and Me Show. Join me Saturdays for great fun, interviews, music, and the latest news surrounding our world today. We are the show that cares to hear your voice and opinion with real conversation in a no judgment zone. So join me Saturdays from 1 to 2 p.m. on the Not So Christian and Me Show, right here on the legendary KYOK Radio, 1140 AM, and the all-new 92.3 FM and KYOKradio.org.
This is Jasmine Highsmith, and you're having Exotic Sports with your lunch here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK.
Yeah, another guy who should be a general manager in the NFL, Alonzo Highsmith. I know he worked as an assistant GM in a couple of different spots and is with the Seattle Seahawks right now. But again, another brother who has put in that work to be a general manager. And when I look at the John Lynch's, when I look at the Mike Mayocks and some of these other guys, man, I'm like, come on, man. Where's Garrick Jones? Where's Alonzo Highsmith? Where's Sean Jones? Where are these brothers and their opportunities to do what it is that needs to be done, man? I mean it. Garrick, what's up with that?
It's coming, man. It's a shift. It's one of those deals where, you have to impose your will. And that's what I've been doing. That's what other guys have been doing, just being, consistent with what they do. But for me, man, I'm imposing my will. I'm doing it in an unconventional fashion, but I'm also involving the people. The people should have a say in what goes on, the fans especially. And that's what we're doing, man. We're just bridging that gap. And I tell guys all the time is I don't want you to be fans. I want you to be family. And that's what it's about.
Yeah. One thing the ownership can't say anymore is they don't know where the talent is. They don't know where the candidates are because you're here. You're putting in the work. They see you putting in the work. Sean Jones has been putting in the work. Alonzo Highsmith's been putting in the work. Other guys have been putting in the work. I mean, look at what, the former general manager of the New York Giants who brought 2 Super Bowls to that organization. And this guy is sitting at home, man. I'm like, what in the world are we doing right now? So that aside, let's go back to this roster. Garrick, now look me in this camera, man, and tell me the truth. Is this roster good? Because I'm really starting to question whether or not they addressed all position parts to put the best roster out there, or did Bill O'Brien allow his ego and his, I'm trying to send a message and I'm the head person in charge. Did he jeopardize this team's ability on the field with his inability on, in the office?
I think there were some missteps. Of course, the situation with DeAndre Hopkins, that was a rough one. That's something you don't bounce back from, within a season, especially with a COVID-19 situation going on. But realistically, man, it's all about, like I say, the leadership and bringing the right coaches in. Those guys get paid, just like the other teams. So when it comes down to advantages, it's on leadership. It's on the coaches to be able to bring the best out of those athletes because they're here for a reason, and people got to understand that. But our job as coaches and upper management is to connect with these players in such a way to where they will go out there and give their lives on the field for this deal, and that's having the understanding of what the end game is. And I don't think that anybody understood what the end game was. There wasn't a clear and concise plan. And that's inside the building and outside the building, So my job would be to come in and get them to understand what this thing is. If we're not talking Super Bowl, what are we talking about? If we're not in this thing to change the game, what are we playing for? They got to see that, and they got to see that coming from the head with boots on the ground and leading from the front,
Yeah, what's interesting is comments from 2 people, Cal McNair justifying the DeAndre Hopkins trade. Mm-hmm. And it's like, Cal, I hear you, but there's no way in the world you can tell me that trade made this team better. You can add up all the parts that they got, Brandon Cooks and all the parts that they got, and it still does not equal one DeAndre Hopkins. It just doesn't. So again, I can understand him being from his perspective thinking that. But then when you hear what Deshaun Watson said, and Deshaun said now Tim Kelly can be free to make some things happen, that tells me that he was being constricted and restricted from making things happen.
Of course. I mean, and you can tell, and I told a lot of people, just look at the body language of the players, and I was trying to educate a lot of the fans on what was going on out there, but they were stuck in their mentality of, okay, this is what I've seen before. This is what I know. And I'm like, listen, I've been out there before. I said, if you look at the guys, they are not there. They're playing for each other, and they're playing because they're professionals. But when it comes down to having faith in the coach and having faith in the GM situation, they didn't have faith. I mean, and that started years before this season. And it's a combination of all of that. But yeah, no, he had everybody restricted, and everybody was on pins and needles. And, you could tell that. And I knew that the locker room, number one, was the situation. And I knew going 0-4 in his first quarter of the season, that some changes were going to have to be made because, the people were coming unglued. The city is, oh, man, you could just feel that tension. And now that that's gone, it's like a party now. Everybody's excited. And I think the guys will play a lot better now. And I think they're going to play a lot harder for each other and for the city. So it'd be interesting to see how the rest of this year plays out.
And that being said, we got Garrick Jones joining us. He is a former member of the Houston Texans as a player, played in the NFL, the CFL, commissioner and founder of the SDFL, which is a great league. Y'all be sure and look that up. And then also a general manager candidate for the Houston Texans and an NFL team. J.J. Watt, one of the most politically correct, say the right thing, not going to venture too far out there, literally saying, grateful for what all, O'Brien did, but really looking forward to turning the page and seeing something new, getting a fresh start. Again, I'm one of those dudes where words matter. You're literally saying that this is going to be different, and I'm excited to see what it's going to be.
Right.
I mean, again, it makes it feel like this dude had a stranglehold on all sides of the ball and everywhere in between.
After that, man, that whole building, had a cloud over it. And it's unfortunate because you had a lot of guys that had a lot of talent. And unfortunate that they had to move on or they were shipped out, within this regime. But now it's going to be a situation if they bring the right people in, and I'm jockeying for that, because what's going to happen is you're going to see a Super Bowl in this city, period, point blank. And it's about bringing the right people in. And the players themselves, like, what JJ said, man, it's a new day. He's posting pictures of the stadium with the roof open. They haven't even seen it. I've seen it.
Yeah, like, when that happened?
That's one of the first orders of business that I'm going to look into when I get there. We got to go back to basics, man. We got to get the people excited, and it's fan re-engagement. JJ said it best, man. We need to reconnect with our fans because our fans they don't love us like they used to. Right. And that was all because of what was going on there. And it's a new day, man. It's time to go, man.
I got you. Again, Garrick Jones joining us here on the lunch break. I got to tell you, man, one of my big issues, a lot of folks call me a hater, want me to run me out of Houston and all that kind of stuff. My issue was for the fans. I've been in Super Bowl cities. I've been in World Series cities. I've been in NBA championship cities. I've been in hockey towns where they won the championship. And it's a different mentality. Houston is such a great city, man. When I first got here in 1989, I fell in love. When my company moved me away, I kept a house here because I knew I was coming back here. The fans deserve better. Under Romeo Crennel as the interim head coach, what do you think this fan base can look forward to going forward?
I think they can look forward to a lot more desire. I think they can look forward to a lot of the players really buying in. I mean, the locker room is back, to be honest with you. The guys love Romeo. He's a great coach, and he's a great players coach. And anytime you have player coaches, the teams play a lot harder. The guys want to please him, and they're brand new right now, which is really good because they're looking forward to the next chapter. I mean, it's only so far that Bill O'Brien was going to take us. And they knew it, and the fans knew it, And it's unfortunate that everything went down the way it did, but it had to happen. So it's one of those things where I think they're gonna love what they're gonna see. Will they win out every game? Who knows? But they're gonna show up and they're gonna punch the other team in the mouth. I can promise you that.
Yeah, that part right there. And I think at the end of the day, they want a competitive team. And
Right.
see what other teams have done against the Kansas Cities and the Baltimores and the Pittsburghs, and then to lose to Minnesota the way that they did, given that they had the highest roster, highest payroll in the league, given that they traded away their number one, didn't get a number one back, given that they let go of Jadeveon Clowney and Dwayne Brown, and didn't even offer a deal to Kareem Jackson and to Tyrann Mathieu, and I can go on and on and on. And overpaid in some cases for Laramie Tunsil and other guys. You got to look forward to something new. Stay right there. We'll come back with more. Garrick Jones joining us. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with more right after this on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM.
All right, it's election time, which means political ads are everywhere. But there's a reason for that. This is important. We have a president who is a straight-up racist, who uses racist language and attacks to divide Americans against each other. We don't just need a new president. We need leaders who aren't afraid to stand up to Trump. But our senator, Republican John Cornyn, he votes with Donald Trump more than 95% of the time. So what do we do about it? We vote for Democrat MJ Hagar. MJ is a combat veteran and is a working mom who knows healthcare costs are out of control. She'll fight for affordable healthcare, cheaper prescription drug prices, and protect people with pre-existing conditions. And she's endorsed by President Obama. But most importantly, she's got the courage to stand up to Donald Trump. So vote Democrat, all the way down the way. And vote for Democrat MJ Hagar for U.S. Senate.
I'm MJ Hagar, candidate for Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by MJ for Texas.
The legendary KYOK
I got one more,
1140 AM. The legendary KYOK 92.3 FM. Radio stations in one.
Now is a great time to replace your worn-out windows during the Renewal by Andersen 25-year savings event. Upgrade your home today. Buy 4 windows and get the 5th one free. Plus, get 12 months with no interest, no money down, and no payments. Call now. Get 4 windows and get the 5th one free. Installation and warranty included. Renewal by Andersen takes every CDC-recommended safety precaution to protect your family. For 25 years, people have trusted us for their window replacement needs, and you can too. Call now to learn about our buy 4, get the 5th one free window replacement offer.
800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. That's 800-245-1537.
Interest accrues from date of purchase, but is waived if paid in full within 12 months. Other conditions apply. We've adjusted our operations to serve you safely following all CDC guidelines. Visit renewalbyandersen.com for details.
Hey guys, this is your girl Brandy Nelson, and you are listening to The Lunch Break on KYOK.
All right, y'all, back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones. It is our Throwback Thursday, and I got a guy right here that's hopefully going to throw the Texans forward. Into the right direction, none other than Garrick Jones, former member of the Houston Texans and NFL player, CFL player, founder and commissioner of the States Development of Football League, and a candidate to be a general manager for the Texans. And if they don't get their minds right, he'll take another NFL team to the top. We got a caller, Garrett. Let's get him on. Hello, you're live on the lunch break. Who's this?
Brother AJ, Mr. Jones. This is Ferdinand.
Hey, Ferdinand, caller of the year 2017. The very first caller on this show. Ferdinand, how you be, bro?
Man, I'm wonderful. I just had a couple of questions. How long is Romeo Cornell's contract?
How long is his contract with the Texans? I don't know that. Garrett, do you know? I know he's going to be the interim head coach through the rest of the season.
No, I don't. Yeah.
And also know that Cal McNair really believes him.
I don't know either.
Yeah, he's somebody that I think Cal is going to want to keep in the organization, even though he won't be the head coach after the last game of the season.
Well, reason is that gentlemen, is because I would love to see Romeo at least coach the Texans for at least 2 years, if possible. Get him back on track, because a lot of times that guys, where we go, we seem to always be on the bottom. But whatever's on the bottom is always holding somebody else up. You got Romeo just like Mr. Jones here, very qualified, very knowledgeable on what's going on in the NFL. I just think if he had 2 years with the Texans, he can turn the Texans organization around. They bounced him around, AJ, and I'm surprised he's still there. But you know how we are, we're resilient. But if you allow him 2 years with the Texans, you'll see a totally different face of the Texans. Now look, I'll say this and I'll go. How in the world you have a guy like Romeo Crennel that's the number 2 defense in the NFL? See where he's at. And I would love to see an opportunity for him to try to fix the Texans and go in the direction that they need to be going in, because you have something to build on. But right now, all the good players are gone, AJ. So I just think if they give him out there and allow him to be who he was when he had that defense number 2, I think the Texans really do shoot.
All right, Ferdinand, appreciate the call, man. We'll definitely chop that up with you listening, all right?
All right, appreciate it, Jimmy. Y'all have a good one.
All right, you too. Ferdinand, again, Call of the Year 2017. So what he's saying is he'd like to see Romeo stay for 2 years. All right, general manager, your interim head coach takes you from 0-4 to the playoffs. Everybody wants Eric Bieniemy. Everybody wants one of the hot, young, up-and-coming coaches. If Romeo Crennel takes his 0-4 team to the playoffs and they go deep in the playoffs, they get to the AFC Championship game, whether they win or not, they get there. Texans have never done that. What do you do with Romeo after that?
Well, we sit down with Romeo and we have a very frank conversation as to what he wants to do, because he's earned it.
Right.
It's just like having a veteran player, kind of like a J.J. Watt situation. I want to know what you want to do. Do you want to finish here, or would you like to go to Pittsburgh with your brothers? One of those types of situations. If he's able to pull that off, he deserves that. That he's done the work. But when it comes down to what's out there and what's hot and what's right now, those are things that really play into that decision of what's going on. But with Romeo, depending on how that goes, I definitely sit down with him and I want him to be a part of the organization in some way, shape, form, or fashion, because these players are comfortable with him. We want to put everybody in a position to be successful. And when you have a level of success within an organization that was in dismay, it's not about getting everybody out of there. It's about finding the right people that understood and understands where it went wrong, and having them inside of the circle still, so they can help you to not go through those things, to be able to get away from what once was, because how it's always been is the wrong type of attitude and atmosphere that we want to build for this culture, for the Texans organization. So, but if he goes deep into the playoffs, he deserves to sit down and let's really figure it out.
Yes, sir. I agree with you. Garrett Jones, again, he is the former member of the Houston Texans as a player, played in the NFL and the CFL, founder and commissioner of the SDFL, and is also a candidate for general manager for the Houston Texans by virtue of a campaign. And I even that is innovative, Garrick. Even that is innovative. And I know people looked at you like that ain't gonna work, and that doesn't make any sense. Right. But they have no idea. What did Rudy Tomjanovich say a while back? Never underestimate the heart of a champion. And that's who you are, bro. You find a way.
Appreciate it, man. I tell people all the time, you got to realize, man, I've been here before. I've been in situations where every scout in the NFL that I worked out for told me I'd never make it to the NFL. I've done this. This is old hat to me. But, you have to educate, people as you go. And a lot of times they won't see the stairs, and you can see them. And I've always saw the stairs, when it came down to having foresight and understanding what my purpose on this earth was. And that's ultimately what it was. When it came to me, it's something God gave me, man. And when I sat down on it, I said, look, let's go get it, because I started to really go through my resume and look at all my body of work. And I said, you know what? I got a chance to do this. And I've never sat down and critiqued myself like that. But once I did that, I said, you know what? We have to do it in an unconventional fashion, because we got to keep up the same dynamic that got me to the NFL the first time. Yeah. But this time I wanted to include the fans, because they were excluded in everything that is going on with the Texans. And also being a former player, I'm a three-headed monster, man, when it comes down to this thing, because I can sit down and I can talk to those players and they'll understand exactly what's going to go on. I'm gonna be clear and concise with it, and the fans themselves too as well. And then we can go in the boardroom and we can get after it. So that's it. This is me.
Garrick, I got a question that came in via text. Trey Son says, man, I love this dude. I've heard him on your show a couple of times. My question is this. Bill O'Brien made a lot of decisions emotionally, like firing Romeo Crennel after the meltdown in Kansas City. What does Garrick think about emotional decisions versus sound business decisions? Good question. Good question.
He pretty much answered the question for you, man. I mean, you have to be able to separate the emotions from the logic. You have to have somebody that's even-tempered, even-keeled, that can understand the dynamic of the frustration of the fans and the people around them. I've dealt with the teamwork aspect my entire career. So when times got tough, we got tougher, and we understood what the end game was before we even started. So that gave us a foundation to go back to whenever things kind of got out of whack. But when it comes down to those types of decisions, emotional decisions never really end right. I mean, if you look at it from a common sense standpoint, if you're emotional when you make a decision or if you say something, you got to retract later on. You got to apologize for it, but it's all about logic. And it's what I try to teach my youngest son right now, because, he gets emotional at times. Mm-hmm. But I'm telling him, man, listen, you have to slow yourself down and think about it logically before you make your decisions. And that's ultimately what has to happen. And if you got leadership that can really do that and not just, say they can do it, you got you something special. And that's me from top to bottom, man.
Yeah. And it's good to hear you say that. I was a fan. 2002 had my PSLs. I was in that stadium when they beat the Dallas Cowboys. That was appropriate for emotion. I've been covering this team since 2005 as a sports director, and I thank God for my program director for giving me that opportunity. Going from Kubiak to Bill O'Brien, where he got into arguments with Zampese, his special teams coach, and then lied to us about, oh, no, I didn't do that. And we had to show him the video. And, is that me? Is that me? I can't believe. Got into arguments with George Godsey. Got into arguments with players. Him and Brock Osweiler, like going at it nose to nose. Got into arguments with guys who were simply using their leverage. When you look at what Jadeveon Clowney did, he held out. Dwayne Brown held out. They're trying to get their money. They have very few options. Right. I just feel like you've got to find a way to separate the emotional and the personal from the business end. It's not personal. It's just business.
Just business. You got to have that, man. It's a marriage. It's got to be give and take. You got to bend and don't break. But as long as we understand what it is we're trying to get done and we come together on it, we'll get a lot more done. And that's the thing that the players got to understand. The players have to understand that we're in this thing and we have their best interest in mind and at heart in everything that we do, because they're the engine. If you don't acknowledge them as the engine, they'll never operate at full capacity. You're looking at 30 to 40% out there on the field. I've been there, done that. You know what I'm saying? So I know what that workload is. And those are the things that will be discussed when it comes down to talking about, different things that they want to do, restructuring of contracts, all those things, man. You got to make them feel like that they're a part of this deal and that this is a family and we're going to take care of them when they're done playing, because they can't play forever. And that's where you get them. You got to be able to connect with them where they are, whether they're in the street, whether they're in the boardroom, whether they're wherever they are. And I don't think that O'Brien was able to do that. Because like I say, he's an organizational leader. He's not a transformational leader. And I pride myself on being a transformational leader, because I want leaders to rise up after I have the opportunity to be a part of their lives. And that's what'll happen.
Yeah. Now, my next comment or question, Garrick, I want you to be very careful on how you answer, because I don't want you messing your stuff up fooling with me.
Okay.
As a general manager, I'll put it this way. When Bill O'Brien took over, a lot more than what was on the field changed. The way that the organization dealt with the media changed. Mm-hmm. When Tony Wiley was there, we had complete access. And that's big media, little media, and I'm going to go here, black media and white media.
Absolutely.
Hispanic. There was a broad representation of the beautiful melting pot that this city is. One of the most diverse city in the United States of America. When Kevin Cooper took over, same thing. We had the same thing. But when Bill O'Brien's regime took over, it changed. The number one radio station in the city of Houston, KMJQ, no longer had access. KTSU, the number one black college radio station, no longer had access. Right. Two of the oldest black-owned radio stations in the city of Houston, KWWJ, KYOK, no longer had access. And they didn't even think about it. It just meant nothing to them. Right. As a general manager, man, we gotta have access, because guess what's on the other end of my microphone? Listeners, fans, people who spend their money on merchandise and tickets and you name it. And hey, let's go Bible. We can't be a respecter of person if this team needs to have the support that it's gotta have to build from here.
Oh man, you said a mouthful, man, and I understand that. I understand in order to make an impact, you have to have all of the people. So, I'm a firm believer in diversity and inclusion it could be the actual reason for winning and losing. It's about including everybody and utilizing the voices that they have. They got to be a part of this thing, and there's some things that I want to talk about that I'll include when I'm able to be a part of the organization from a general manager standpoint, but I just can't divulge that information right now for the simple fact that there are a lot of.
I don't want to put you in a bad spot. And I get it, but I would be remiss if I didn't put that out there, because every time I see Tony, hey bro, we miss you. Every time I see Kevin, hey bro, we miss you. When I see some other people that have those positions right now, it's almost like I'm the enemy. If I come up and just ask, hey, can I get an interview with so-and-so? Or can I, have credentials to the game? That shouldn't be the case. It should not be all or nothing. I mean, one group or nothing. It should be inclusion, as much inclusion as possible.
Man, diversity and inclusion is the key point when it comes down to winning and losing it. And I'm a firm believer in that. And I will fight tooth and nail to be able to have everyone be a part of this deal, because like I say, I want people to make the transition from fans to our family. And I want them to connect with the players. I want them to connect with me. And that's one of the biggest things, like, that I'm doing with social media right now. These people are excited, because they can actually go back and forth with me. And when I'm sitting there answering questions and I'm commenting and I'm accessible, that's something that they've never had. And that's why the movement is starting to pick up, because they see that I'm a regular guy, man. I'm in this thing to make sure that this city of Houston sees that Lombardi Trophy here, and that's it.
Bruh, I tell you what, man, if you are able to bring a Lombardi Trophy to Houston, brother. Garrick, give me one more break. We'll come back, and then we'll talk about just kind of next steps, because I heard Cal McNair's interview on another station, and I kind of want to talk about how that would play for someone like you. Okay, We'll be right back with Garrick Jones right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all new 92.3 FM. It's Throwback Thursday.
I'm Gary Bledsoe, Texas NAACP president. In my lifetime, we have worked and sacrificed to make real progress.
That's right, Gary. I'm Claude Cummings, Vice President of the Communication Workers of America. Our community is under attack again.
Our jobs are being exported. The court system has largely turned its back on us, and people need to realize, Claude, is the last election amounts to a true revolution, where all those gains in civil rights and human progress are actually being targeted.
I know powers in Washington want to deny health care to working people who have pre-existing conditions, eliminate environmental protections for minority communities. It even encourages racism.
We thought those days were gone.
Dr. King said the time is always right to do what is right.
Let's do what's right. Let's vote and get your family and friends to vote too. If you don't, you should not be surprised to see drastic changes in your world.
Vote early or on election day.
Political advertising paid for by the Communications Workers of America.
You're listening to
1140 AM and 92.3 FM. The legendary KYOK.
I'm going to tell you how you can get real health insurance for as little as $6 a day. Yes, now you can get affordable health insurance for you and your family immediately, starting at just $6 a day. And coverage is guaranteed regardless of your medical condition. That's right, for about $6 a day, you can have guaranteed health insurance. And there's dental, vision, and prescription coverage too. You owe it to yourself and your family to make this free call right now and learn more. There are no deductibles, no waiting period, no contracts, and coverage is guaranteed. Call National Health right now for your risk-free, guaranteed health insurance quote starting at just $6 a day. Call now.
800-797-0921.
She's rarely down here. She needs this area.
800-797-0921. 800-797-0921.
I'm on it.
That's 800-797-0921. Paid for by Go Health. You're home. You're a diabetic. You need supplies, but you don't want to visit the pharmacy. What do? Call US Med for home delivery of your supplies. If you have diabetes and you're worried about going to a crowded pharmacy, pick up the phone in the safety and comfort of your home and let US Med deliver them to you with free shipping. And now if you test your blood sugar 4 more times a day and inject insulin 3 or more times a day, you may qualify to get a new continuous glucose monitor at little or no cost, which may eliminate the pain of pricking your fingers and helps you make smarter diabetes decisions. Plus, we'll send you a 90-day supply and bill your insurance company for you. Get some peace of mind. Call US Med today. 800-417-0851. 800-417-0851. That's 800-417-0851.
Okay.
Hey, you want some sports with your lunch? Well, tune in to the legendary KYOK at the lunch break. And I'm Raven Rogers.
All right, y'all, we back here in it, right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. Got to get back to my guy, Garrick Jones, man. He is truly a blessing to have on the show. He is a former player with Houston Texans, former NFL player, former CFL player, founder and commissioner of the SDFL. If you don't know about that, you need to check it out. And then he is a candidate putting in the work. You just got another degree from where, Garrick? I saw. And what you say? They liked it so much they spelled my name twice.
Yeah, they gave me my last name twice.
Ain't nothing wrong with keeping up with the Joneses, man.
Man, listen, we're trying to make it happen, man. So that came from Shaw Academy. During the pandemic. I decided, and this is when I, decided to raise my hand for the general manager spot, that I needed to focus on being certified in as many different things as possible that would give me that advantage and put me in the race for a lot of different things. So, I started getting into sports psychology. I started getting into leadership and management, all the different things I had already been doing, with all my businesses and my practices and those types of things. But people like to see the paper. So I said, let me go ahead and do that. That way it's different.
Yep. And I get it, man. You just got to minimize all of their objections, handle the objections before you get to the objections, and there won't be any objections. I used to teach my salespeople that, man. All right, so here's my question. What's really next for you? Because in hearing Cal McNair talk, he's saying at the end of the year, they're going to start interviewing general manager candidates. They're putting together the list now, but they're going to start actually interviewing folks so that there's no tampering. And then once they hire the general manager, they'll let that person start the head coaching search and go from there. Jack Easterby will go back to his VP of football operations or whatever that is. And the general manager will then take over, the football side of things. For you, what does that mean for you?
I mean, I've already been doing it. Nothing changes for me, man. To be honest with you, I've already sent in my interview request. My letter of intent, my resume. So they have it, and then we'll have our Houston Texans Legends event this month too as well. So I'll get a chance to, just reaffirm that. Hey, listen, I want you guys to take a close look at me. I think you'll like what you see once you get a chance to, break it down and do your due diligence on me. So I'll have access, and this is what I've been telling people all the time. If I didn't start when I started, there would be no chance. You know, I wouldn't be part of the conversation. So it's been real strategic in what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. But now it's time to really get the fans involved, because they see the light now. They see that there's an opportunity. So they're spreading the petition. They're talking about it. We have a question and answer session, which will be the second question and answer tonight in the Blessed to Be a Texans Fan page on Facebook. So we're going to go live and just answer everybody's questions. There's about 27,000 people in that group that I'm an admin for. So that's a part of the numbers that I'll sit down and I'll talk to the McNairs about when it comes down to this bottom line, because realistically, man, where I'm at right now, it's like I told everybody, you know, a while back, I'm in front of about $12.5 million per game that will come through the door with me. So I'm going to make it real hard on them. You know, they're going to have to make a decision, because I will apply that pressure, and the fans are going to be a part of that pressure that we apply. And we're going to do this thing the right way. My thing is, you know, it's not about popularity. It's about production. You know, It is what it is. I've been verified, you know, the day I was born. So people follow that and they understand what I bring to the table. And it's like, just like you say with the other radio station that they had that interview, and I know exactly what you're talking about. That's what the guys know me for. All of my teammates, you know, and they understand what I'm doing. You know, they get it.
I got to tell you, man, I'm excited that you've been way ahead of the game. I mean, you've been way ahead of the game. You got ready so you wouldn't have to get ready when this door opened. You are ready to walk through it because you have been preparing all this time. At this point, what can folks do to support you so that when it's time, they can be a part of that number, and those numbers you'll be talking to the McNairs about?
Well, just continuing to sign and share and comment on the petition. Like I told you earlier, that, you know, the hashtag GJ for GM is the easiest way to find it. And I'm tagging everything now. The fans are tagging things, and we want this thing to become viral. We want this thing to become a situation where they can't deny it. And then from there, you know, the heavy lifting is done. You know, once you go to the petition, you'll see all of my information. You'll see different interviews. You'll see things that we've done together already. And they'll get a chance to just go through my resume, you know, my body of work. And I challenge people to just take their time and get to know me. There's only so much Google will give you. So I'm trying to give you as much as possible, but I'm also making myself accessible when people reach out to me, people friend me on social media. You know, I'm going back and forth with them, and it's shocking a lot of people. They're like, man, this guy really does communicate with us. And I'm like, you will never have that in any organization that you patronize or that you're a fan of. You will never be able to touch it. And even if I'm in there, we're going to have some things set up where the fans can still have some access and do some things. So it's a fun ride, man. Like I said, I've been here before. So just follow me, man, and let's go get it.
I love that, man. I know we got to go, but I love that because you're right. Again, covering this team since 2005, I didn't have access to Casserly. I didn't have access to Rick, but I knew Rick outside of you know, team and what happened, my frat brother. I definitely didn't have access to Brian Gaine. And bruh, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I would have had a better chance to walk up on Trump than I did on Bill O'Brien, and you never know what you're going to get out of Bill O'Brien. He's attacking fans up in the stands, you know, telling them what to do. And the fans like, you know, hey, you know I can't come down there. Don't be trying to bait me. So, man, I'm just looking forward to, like J.J. Watt said, turning the page and seeing something new, seeing something different. And I mean it, man. I really hope that this team can turn it around. The city deserves better. The players deserves better. The organization deserves better. And I know that you're a part of their better, Garrick Jones. So tell everybody about the event tonight and how they can get connected with you going forward.
Well, what it is we have a Q&A with GJ. And it's the second installment where I get the opportunity just to answer questions that the fans may have. You know, and we're going to do it within the group that I'm a part of, that I'm an admin for, which is the Blessed to Be a Texans Fan on Facebook. And we're going to go Facebook Live there tonight at 7 p.m. I'm going to share it on my pages. And you guys should be able to see it because it'll be a public type of deal. So I'm going to share it on as many different platforms within that Facebook structure as possible, all of the groups that I'm a part of. But it'll definitely be on my pages, and it'll be open to the public. But I'm posting right now and just trying to get people to join the group. Right now, like I said, we're in 27,000 individuals that are Texans fans that I'm going back and forth with every day. and they're loving it. They're loving it access, and that's what it'll be, man. It'll be a conversation. These folks got to get a chance to know me, and once they do, they have a better understanding of what's going on, because there's still some that attack it, but understanding that when you attack it, for everyone that comes for me, I leave with 50 people that are a part of this movement because they see how I deal with you. So I tell them all the time, man, you got to read The Art of War. This is chess,
Right.
And I'm not easily shaken, so you shouldn't be shook. And that's what it's about, man. We eating right now, man. We good. We're in a great spot, man. We're in a great spot, bro. We good.
I told him in Bible study last night, if you're not under attack, then that means you're not doing anything attack worthy. So,
man,
bro,
come on, man. Come on.
Listen, don't be mad because you're being attacked, because that just means you're doing something attack worthy. You got something that worth having. So, bro, keep doing what you're doing. I've got the link in the body of the show, so go back up to the top. The link is there. Click on that. Sign the petition if you've not already done that. Share the petition if you've not already done that. And let's get a brother who is qualified, a brother who has a heart for this city, a brother who has a heart for this team, a brother who has a heart for these players, a brother who has a heart for you as a fan. You know, that your hard-earned dollars and your emotions and what have you won't get played with. That's Garrick Jones, man. I listen, I endorse you 100%, bro. You have my endorsement, man.
I thank you, man. I thank you. Now, when they go to the petition, guys, you don't have to donate. That's something that they got set up in there. You don't got to donate. All you got to do is share it after you sign it. When you comment, just make sure that you can share your comments on social media, man. We can just spread that word around. So as many different ways as we can get this thing viral, let's do it. And let's take it in there, because I'm taking all of this stuff inside with me for my presentation when I sit down with the team. So they'll know. They will see you. So let's do it.
Well, as your future team chaplain, man, I'm gonna be praying with you and for you, dog.
Come on now, you better claim it.
Claim that. Let me tell you, we might need a little. Well, we got Andre Ware, but we might need a little bit more color for the voice of the Texans. So I'm just throwing some things out there, bro.
Hey, listen, I want more for you than you want for yourself, brother.
You better come on in the house, man. Garrick Jones. All joking aside, man, I appreciate you, bro. I'm excited for you, and I know, really, man, brother, you put in that work, and your labor has not been in vain, man. So let's see what it's going to be, bro. Let's see what it's going to be.
Thank you, brother.
All right, y'all. Garrick Jones, have a good one, man. We'll talk to you again soon, all right?
All right, man. Love y'all, man.
Y'all. Listen, I am glad that he came on here so you can kind of get a feel for what's happening behind the scenes with a good brother like him. You should get excited again about this organization. You should get excited about, like J.J. Watt said, the things that are to come. Deshaun Watson, the things that are to come. Get excited about that, because really, this labor has not been in vain, and we got a good brother right here that's trying to make the most of it, help make it better. So we're going to get ready for our next guest coming on. I got to get Sybil Wilkes on here with her coronavirus update. So y'all just keep it right there, right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. It is our free, make that Throwback Thursday. I knew I was going to do that. I knew I was going to rush to the weekend, but it is Throwback Thursday. We'll be back with more right after this. Thank you, G.
All right, brother. Appreciate you, man.
No, I appreciate you, man.
We'll be in touch. We'll catch up, bro. All right, later.
All right, man.
Today about the coronavirus. The National Football League and Players Association have announced Wednesday that 11 NFL players and 15 staff members have tested positive for COVID-19 last week. The NFL's chief medical officer, Dr. Alan Sills, said in a recent interview, the league will not rule out pausing the season after the recent positive cases. So far, the NFL has postponed 2 games this season due to positive COVID-19 tests. Stephen Miller, top policy advisor to Donald Trump, recently announced he has tested positive for coronavirus. He is the latest member of the president's team caught in an outbreak at the White House. At least 10 others have tested positive. Casual dining chain Ruby Tuesday has filed for bankruptcy, overcome by the financial pressures brought on by the pandemic. The nearly 50-year-old company filed for Chapter 11 with the intention of reducing its debt and operating as usual while it navigates the process. Please visit SibylWilkes.com to subscribe to my free daily newsletter. Be informed, be empowered.
You're having your lunch on the lunch break with KYOK.
All right, y'all, we're back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones. This is our Throwback Thursday. I want to thank Garrick Jones again for coming on and giving us all that great insight on who he is and what he feels like he can do to turn this thing around for the Houston Texans. And I am all for it. For all y'all that called me a Texans hater and for all y'all that said, I need to leave town. Again, I was not a hater of the team. I knew the day they hired this guy, it was not going to go well. And then when I saw how everybody was getting excited over division titles and not conference titles and not Super Bowl championships, like, oh man, this dude got y'all fooled, man. Yo, this brother is running a hustle and y'all getting hustled. So now that that's over, I'm 100% behind the team. I'm 100% behind J.J. Watt. I'm 100% behind DeAndre Hopkins. Well, he ain't here no more. I'm sorry. I got beside myself. I'm definitely 100% behind Deshaun Watson. I can tell you that. I don't know how I feel about David Johnson. It ain't personal. He like the dude. David Johnson is like the dude that replaced your sister's boyfriend and you and him was cool. Like, the dude ain't a bad dude, but he ain't your favorite. You know what I mean? You just like, oh, okay, hi, how you doing? You know what I mean? You ain't got a lot of words for him. That's all David Johnson is for me. That's all. It ain't personal. It's just he ain't that dude. So anyway, I've got a couple things that I got to share real quick. Jackson State, of course, is the school that I'm representing today. Jackson State is the HBCU that I'm repping today. And let me give you just a little bit about Jackson State University. Of course, it is an HBCU that was founded on October the 23rd, 1877. 142 years old. They've got students, 7,020 students as of the fall of 2019, 5,152 undergrad, and 1,868 postgraduate students located right there in Jackson, Mississippi. Their motto is challenging minds and changing lives. Of course, they are in the SWAC, and their nickname is the Tigers, and they got a new head coach. His name is Prime Time. So anyway, Jackson State is the school that I'm repping today. If you want to get more information about Jackson State, go to their website, www.jsums.edu, jsums.edu.
1140 AM, KYOK Conroe, and 92.3 FM, K222CX Houston.
The views and opinions expressed on all radio shows broadcast on KYOK are entirely those of the host, guests, and callers who are entirely responsible for all show content and do not in any way reflect the opinions of KYOK Radio, its sponsors, staff, or management.
Oh, yeah, and for those who don't know what primetime is, that's Deion Sanders. He's the new head coach at Jackson State. Let me go to the phone line. I got Primetime joining me right now, all the way from Columbus, Ohio, home of the Ohio State University, where he is a graduate. I'm talking about broadcast journalist Willy Gibson. What's going on, Willie G?
Hey, Jay, what's going on, sir? How are you?
Hey, man, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I hate that we don't have you on video today, man, because, when your picture come up, folks be like, oh, yeah, that's Willie.
Yeah, I missed the haircut today. I told you I can't go East Coast, West Coast, worldwide without a cut.
You know what?
I need a fresh one.
Hey, tell your barber, man, I ain't feeling these missings of the haircuts. Like,
no, it's me.
Oh, it's you?
It's me. I was rolling this week and I missed my time, so we'll get it back though.
Oh, gosh. Willie, what am I going to do with you, man? Well, I can't mess with you. No. I can't mess with you. I know you just finishing up your anniversary celebration. I know you were right and I was wrong about the Cleveland Browns and the Cowboys. So I can't mess with you today. I'll get you next week, though.
Hey, we'll talk. Let's do it.
Karen Gibson is on there talking about LOL. She laughing at you, man. I know you her baby.
Hey, you know, it's not me who. It's not me who.
Willie, now before we get off into Cleveland and their beating up of the Cowboys and all of that, what were your thoughts about Bill O'Brien getting relieved of his duties when he did here in Houston?
I think it was time. I think internally they saw some things, and as you said, subsequently we heard about those things with Anthony Weaver and J.J. Watt and other things that you discussed previously. So I think, after a while, you can only take so much. And as much as, you want the best for people, at the end of the day, it's the bottom line businesses. As Mr. Jones said, what have you done for me lately business? And what he's done for them lately was go on board.
Yeah.
Trade, playmakers.
Yeah.
And not get a lot of return. So I think it had to be done.
Yeah. I got to tell you, man, hearing that O'Brien was dropping F-bombs and cussing people out as he's firing them and telling them to get out of the building. That right there, man, I mean, I'm surprised that he survived a day after that. And I'm not trying to nitpick it because he's gone now, but I'm really wondering what that says about the internal operation of an organization that would let a guy get away with stuff like that.
I think it's just, and you know much more about this scenario in Houston than I do, but just looking at from my experience covering the Browns, before Jimmy Haslam brought the team, he brought it from Randy Lerner, who inherited the team from his father Al once he passed. So Randy absolutely had no interest in being an owner of an NFL team whatsoever. So he kind of put people in place to shield him from the fiery darts, if you will.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is Al McNair's protocol or not, his MO. I don't know him, enough about the situation to say that. But I've seen that situation where owners will put people in place, and yeah, they may not have the best of character, but at the end of the day, they're doing what they've been paid to do, which is take shots that the owner doesn't want to take.
Yeah. No, I got you. I know we're kind of talking about it on a different level. Willy Gibson joining us, broadcaster, journalist from Columbus, Ohio. I don't drew a blank on his name now. He used to be the defensive coordinator for the Texans, was head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Wade Phillips. I kept thinking of his dad, but couldn't think of Wade's name. Pray for me, man, my mind. When Wade got fired from Dallas, I drove down there for the press conference, and I was just kind of walking on the property because I had never seen it before. That was Valley Ranch. And there was a woman standing off, it was still part of you could walk up to it, but she was kind of standing off on a hill by herself. And I just walked up next to her to admire the view. She was crying. And I asked her why she was crying. She said, well, I've been here longer than any other employee. I'm the one person who's been here since Tom Landry and since Jerry Jones bought it and what have you. And she said, Wade Phillips was the one guy who always asked everybody something personal about them that he remembered. And she said, and to know that he's gone, because this guy that we have in here now, she says he doesn't do that. And it was no slight at the former head coach, Jason Garrick, but it was no comparison to Wade Phillips. I wonder if that's what they had experienced in Houston. Gary Kubiak was very personable, very personal. You could tell he legitimately cared. He's an empath. Bill O'Brien, clearly not the same guy if you're firing people with F-bombs and inappropriate words.
Right. And, as you said, it's a total lack of character. And how long and where was that accepted prior to for him to be comfortable in that scenario? I have a saying that silence is acceptance. And if you don't say anything, that person feels empowered that, hey, this is what, no one's checked me. No one said this is wrong. No one said, and they may very well know it's wrong. I don't know Bill O'Brien personally. I haven't covered him at all. But to have that comfort to speak with people that way, and as well as you being in a position of leadership, that's a true lack of character. And hopefully, with reflection, he can, if the opportunity presents itself again, do it a little differently.
Yeah, I got to tell you, man, I'm probably one of the few that's calling these out, and I'm going to call them out because Bill O'Brien always made some of us feel like we were beneath him when we would ask questions in the press conferences after the game. He'd act like he's doing us a favor. And then, his PR people, team PR folks would literally make us feel like we're, unable to approach him, to even speak, good game, coach, or, great play calling, or whatever the case may be. And we get these dirty looks like, you're not supposed to talk to him right now. Never felt that way with Kubiak. Never felt that way with other guys. But some kind of way with Bill O'Brien, all of that was beneath him. So, it ain't hard for me to call this stuff out because I've been calling it out from day one. I'm not just doing it since he got fired.
Right. I mean, that's a him problem. I mean, me personally, I relish those opportunities. The people that it presented a situation like that would make me, that would make me talk to him twice. I don't know. That's me. That's me. If I take that vibe up from someone, and that's okay. That's a him problem. But I'm here to do a job as well. You did your job from 1 to 4. Now from 4:30 to 5:30, I have a job to do. So my questions get asked.
Yeah, and if we just gonna be real about it, not only that, but I think we saw who this guy was before he even got here. I mean, he was in a very heated fellowship with Tom Brady on the sideline in New England as the offensive coordinator. And I know Tom Brady was like, yo, bro, let me tell you something real quick. I'm Tom Brady. So I don't care what you're talking about. And they downplayed it. And then a couple years after that, he was on his way to Penn State. And then after that, he comes here. And like I said, we saw the argument with Zampisi, the special team coach. We saw the argument and heard about the argument with Brock Osweiler. We heard about the arguments with George Godsey. We know about the backstabbing of Rick Smith and how, watch this, there was an incident where Ryan Mallett was apparently late to something, and Bill O'Brien wanted to cut Ryan Mallett immediately. Well, they were in Miami, and Rick Smith had to tell him, if you cut him, we will not have a quarterback, a backup quarterback. If the starter gets hurt, Brian Hoyer gets hurt, we'll have to go to an emergency quarterback. We can't just call somebody up from the practice squad and put them in the backup role. And Bill O'Brien didn't know that. He was so caught up in his emotions and his feelings and the let me show him who I am that he literally almost jeopardized the team. And without a Rick Smith, that would have been ugly.
Sure. Like I said, perhaps now with reflection, he, I don't know. He, hopefully he reflects on this situation and corrects the errors of his ways and, moves forward.
What if they bring him in as the offensive coordinator of the Cleveland Browns? How you feeling about that?
Oh, no, that's not going to happen. Kevin Stefanski has that machine rolling right now. So 3-1 going into week 5 against the Colts. So that's, I believe, finally, the ship has been righted in Cleveland. So I think they're fine.
Well,
but if they were, and they were, he would see me and we would discuss and go from there.
Yeah. Hold that thought, Willie. I want to come back to your 3-1 Cleveland Browns in a minute. Willy Gibson, broadcast journalist from Columbus, Ohio, joining us here on the lunch break. It's Throwback Thursday. I want to come back to him right after this quick break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM.
This is Earl G. Robinson. When people say my vote doesn't matter, when you don't vote, your vote counts against you. The other side gets a vote. If you want to fix our broken criminal justice system and reform your local police department to make it more accountable, you need to vote. If you want to increase economic prosperity in the black community, you need to vote. If you want to protect the right to vote, you need to vote. If you want more funding for our schools, you need to vote. Voting does matter. If Black Lives Matter to you, you need to vote. Early voting begins on October 13th and ends on October 30th. Election day is November 3rd. You need to vote. We all need to vote. If you don't vote, it will matter.
Paid for by the Communications Workers of America, District 6, Claude Cummings Jr., Vice President.
I am a non-attorney spokesperson representing a team of lawyers who've helped people that have been injured or wronged. Have you been diagnosed with cancer? Are you one of the millions who have taken Zantac or other generic versions of this popular drug to help treat stomach issues? Then pay close attention to this message. The FDA said it detected low levels of a probable cancer-causing chemical known as NDMA in Zantac and other generic forms of this popular drug. They've banned sales and even removed it from the market. If you've been diagnosed with cancer and you've taken Zantac or a generic equivalent, call the legal helpline now. You could receive a free cash award and have your medical expenses covered. And there's no upfront cost to you. They only get paid if you win. So please call now. 800-251-7816. 800-251-7816. 800-251-7816. That's 800-251-7816.
Hi, I'm Larry Scott, host of the Not So Christian and Me Show. Join me Saturdays for great fun, interviews, music, and the latest news surrounding our world today. We are the show that cares to hear your voice and opinion with real conversation in a no judgment zone. So join me Saturdays from 1 to 2 p.m. on the Not So Christian and Me Show, right here on the legendary KYOK Radio, 1140 AM, and the all-new 92.3 FM at KYOKradio.org.
You're having your lunch on the lunch break with KYOK.
All right, y'all, back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones. It is our Throwback Thursday, and let me go back to the phone line. We got Willy Gibson, who wasn't able to make an appointment with his barber, joining us via phone line rather than video, to which we have grown accustomed to. Willy, get it together, bro. Get it together. We need to see you, man.
You know what? Can I be completely transparent?
All right, let me hear it.
Be completely transparent.
Come on.
Now, you know how you like planning your weeks out, planning your appointments. Like, okay, I got this, so maybe I can not get a cut this week, and then come up next week and be all right.
Yeah.
And then you called me.
Yeah.
You called me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? All right. You know, then like we said, no. Yeah, that's what it was. I miscalculated. I thought I could get away with another week, and then I got the call. And,
Yep.
You know, that's note to self, always be ready. Always be ready. So,
and that's what they say. Stay ready so you won't have to get ready, man.
Didn't Mr. Jones just say that?
That's what he just said. That's what he just said. That's what he just said. All right, let's get back to your team, man. Cleveland is surprisingly as apparently good as the experts and the analysts thought that they would be. I got to tell you, I was lukewarm on them, but as I'm looking at the standings right now in the AFC North, Pittsburgh 3-0. They predicted that. The Ravens 3-1, and right there is Cleveland 3-1. Cincinnati 1-2-1. What's different in Cleveland this year that we don't know about down here in Houston?
It's the law of the lid. The law of the lid. That head coach and his staff, Kevin Stefanski, came in and just changed the culture. He pretty much put his stamp on the program from day one, and the players are buying in. The ownership is buying in. The front office is buying in. He sold, and I don't want to say he sold them because they knew last year, to be perfectly honest with you, Andrew Berry, the general manager now, was VP of player personnel, and he wanted Kevin Stefanski, but he was outvoted by, at the time, general manager John Dorsey, who wanted Freddie Kitchens. And we see after 1 year, 6-10, they got Freddie out of there. So they were aware of Kevin Stefanski. He was on the radar for a while. So once they got him in the building and he put his program together, you're starting to see the results.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I do see a difference. And one of the primary places that there is a difference is with the quarterback spot. QB1 seems like he's a different guy. What's happening there that we don't know about? Is it a heart-to-heart? Is it a you can't do this, you're not going to do that? Or is it why don't we focus on this and everything else will take care of itself?
Yes. Let me explain. Yes, all of that. Because Baker came in there, John Dorsey pretty much gave him carte blanche. You give a rookie pretty much the keys to the kingdom, if you will. And he went to his head a little bit. So that was one.
You're so kind.
Also,
you are so kind. Are you a deacon at your church? What?
I am not.
You sure?
I'll say this. Yeah.
You're the pastor's armor bearer, aren't you?
Next question.
Yeah, because man, did you say it went to his head a little bit?
I did.
You wanna? Is that your final answer?
No, because I have more. But I'll say this, and he's not fully complicit in this because, like I said, Freddie Kitchens last year, John Dorsey wanted Freddie Kitchens, but his lack of success, Freddie Kitchens, is why John Dorsey and Freddie Kitchens both are gone. In his defense, and this, you said what you may not know down there. Freddie Kitchens would call plays, and this is week 13, week 14, would call plays that not that they didn't practice during the week. He would call plays that they had not practiced since training camp. So I don't know about you, but if you practice something and then 4 months later it comes up and you haven't practiced it in 4 months, it's going to look trash. It's going to be terrible.
Right.
Freddie Kitchens did that on multiple occasions. But Baker Mayfield takes the heat, takes the front of the criticism because he looks bad. And now until Kevin Stefanski comes in, and he won't necessarily call him a game manager, but his offense is predicated on the run. Short pass. So you have Kareem Hunt, you have Nick Chubb, and they're leading the league in rushing right now. Plus, Baker Mayfield is still, week 2 and week 3, he threw the ball in the second half 16 times combined, 8 times week 2, 8 times week 3. That's the winning formula for Kevin Stefanski versus Freddie Kitchens would go out there, and I've seen it. Maybe I'm telling you, I sat there. Seattle came in there last year, and Cleveland was up 22-6. They're on the 3-yard line, first and goal, and Baker threw the ball 4 times. And on the 4th down pass, it was intercepted. That's not Baker Mayfield. He's running the play that Freddie Kitchens is calling. And mind you, Nick Chubb was in the backfield the entire time. So those type of things are what people may not know. Now with Kevin Stefanski coming in, he cleans a lot of that up and implements a player-friendly system. And now you see, like you said, 3-1 going into week 5.
We got Willy Gibson, broadcast journalist from Columbus, Ohio, covers the Cleveland Browns. We're talking about them right now. He also covers the Big Ten. We'll talk about them in a minute. As you were talking, I get it. I get it. And I know this isn't Baker's fault, and I'll put it on Dorsey and maybe Kitchens. What in the world made them think that Baker needed to be anything more than a game manager, if for no other reason than he was a rookie that had not played on this level in his life? I always wonder when I look at what's going on with Dwayne Haskins, when I look at, the way that Lamar Jackson came into the league, and if you even go back to Russell Wilson, they had brought in Flynn as the starter, and it was just that Russell just outplayed him so much that they moved Flynn out and put Russ in. What made them think that he needed to be anything more than a game manager anyway?
It wasn't him. It was them.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I know it wasn't him. I know it wasn't him. But what I fault Baker for is that he fell for it. He fell for it with his mouth. He fell for it with his attitude. And again, I know I'm speaking to the choir. He got humbled in a way that was not necessary. People like to say, "Oh, well, you had to go through that." No, you didn't. He could have gotten it before it got to that point and say, listen, I'm just trying to win games. I'm not talking about other quarterbacks on other teams. I'm not talking about Duke Johnson's contract. I'm just trying to win games. Baker ran his mouth and he got his butt handed to him. But the Dorseys and the Kitchens, they were the ones that set the young man up for failure. And I love what Stefanski's doing by letting him be what he should have been all along.
Right, Freddie got the job. Let's go back. John Dorsey, he got the Cleveland job. Mind you, he lost the power struggle in Kansas City. It was between he and Andy Reid. So Andy Reid, of course, won out. They fired John Dorsey. Fred Beach is now the GM, and they won the Super Bowl last year. So Dorsey had a little axe to grind with that. So you bring in Freddie Kitchens, who, quite honestly, we all know, never should have gotten that job. He was running back coach at the beginning of the season, assistant running back coach at that, at the beginning of the season. He moved up to OC once they fired Hugh Jackson, and the OC that was there before, Todd Haley. And then, for whatever reason, they felt him and Baker clicked, and he elevated to the head spot. So he never really should have gotten the job to begin with. Yeah. But once he did, Brian took over. He felt, I have to show them I belong. This is my shot. This is my shot. I have the keys. I'm going to show them. This is my time. I run the show.
Yeah.
It blew up on him.
Yeah.
It blew up on him.
Yeah.
And Baker was collateral damage.
Yeah, no, I got you. And again, that's good inside stuff. That is good inside stuff. Quick commercials. We'll be right back with Willy Gibson, breaking it down for us, giving us stuff that we did not know about the Cleveland Browns, who are 3-1. And Cowboy fans, I hate to say it, they put your Cowboys to sleep. So we'll be right back right after this on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. It is our Throwback Thursday.
All right, it's election time, which means political ads are everywhere. But there's a reason for that. This is important. We have a president who's a straight-up racist, who uses racist language and attacks to divide Americans against each other. We don't just need a new president, we need leaders who aren't afraid to stand up to Trump. But our senator, Republican John Cornyn, he votes with Donald Trump more than 95% of the time. So what do we do about it? We vote for Democrat MJ Hagar. MJ is a combat veteran and is a working mom who knows healthcare costs are out of control. She'll fight for affordable healthcare, cheaper prescription drug prices, and protect people with pre-existing conditions. And she's endorsed by President Obama. But most importantly, she's got the courage to stand up to Donald Trump. So vote. Vote Democrat, all the way down the back. And vote for Democrat MJ Hagar for U.S. Senate.
I'm MJ Hagar, candidate for Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by MJ for Texas.
Now is a great time to replace your worn-out windows during the Renewal by Anderson 25-year savings event. Upgrade your home today. Buy 4 windows and get the 5th one free. Plus, get 12 months with no interest, no money down, and no payments. Call now. Get 4 windows and get the 5th one free. Installation and warranty included. Renewal by Anderson takes every CDC-recommended safety precaution to protect your family. For 25 years, people have trusted us for their window replacement needs, and you can too. Call now to learn about our buy 4, get the 5th one free window replacement offer.
800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. That's 800-245-1537. Interest accrues from date of purchase, but is waived if paid in full within 12 months. Other conditions apply. We've adjusted our operations to serve you safely following all CDC guidelines. Visit renewalbyanderson.com for details.
It's the lunch break on KYOK.
All right, y'all, back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. It is Throwback Thursday. Let me throw back to the phone line. Willy Gibson joining us here all the way from Columbus, Ohio, talking about the Cleveland Browns 3-1. Cleveland lost to the Ravens 38-6 in game 1. They beat the Bengals in a shootout 35-30. Then they beat the Washington football team 34-20. And their signature win was in Dallas over the Cowboys. Cowboys had cut it to 3. And all of a sudden, Baker did a reverse pitch to Odell Beckham Jr., who made a defensive player look kind of bad and then took it all the way to the house. And now we got the Cleveland football team 3-1. They got the Colts next in Cleveland. Willie, what's going to happen Sunday in Cleveland?
I think Phillip Rivers is going to give them 2, maybe 3.
You ain't lying.
He typically does.
You ain't lying.
I think they win. And one thing I need to say before Cleveland, the Browns are missing 3 starters on defense. It's been kind of not really discussed throughout the season. Greedy Williams got hurt in camp. He hasn't played a shoulder. He's close to returning. He was limited in practice last week, and this week he's getting a little bit more run in practice. Mac Wilson had a knee. He's limited. And then also Grant Delpit, the safety from LSU, Thorpe Award winner, towards Achilles in camp. He's out for the season. So they haven't really put their full complement of their full arsenal out there yet. But I think outside of Phillip Rivers, Indianapolis is fairly young. Chris Campbell, the former Buckeye receiver, is out for the year with a knee injury. They have some young receivers, Michael Pittman Jr. and the running back from Wisconsin, Jonathan Taylor. They're fine.
Yeah.
But I think Cleveland, that, like I said, what I see, that machine is rolling right now, and I think they'll have enough. Even with Nick Chubb, he sprayed his MCL against Dallas. He's out 6 weeks. With Kareem Hunt now becomes the feature back, and this is why you brought Kareem Hunt back. It allows them for depth purposes, but it also allows him to reclaim some of the shine that he lost with his off the field issues.
Yeah.
I think Cleveland does it. They run it to 4-1 on their way to, I think next it's at Cincinnati and at Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a lot of winnable games left on the calendar, on the schedule. Again, if they pull off the win versus the Colts, they go to Pittsburgh. That ain't going to be easy. The Cincinnati game is always a tough game because of the rivalry. That one will be in Cincinnati. Don't think they'll have any problems with the Raiders at home. And then let's circle this day. We'll have to get back together before the November 15th day when when Houston comes up there. Philadelphia is not who we thought they were. Jacksonville shouldn't be a problem. The Tennessee game might be interesting. And then they got Baltimore at home. Got a very winnable game against the Giants in Jersey. Then they stay there for the Jets in Jersey. And then they come back home for Pittsburgh, and that game might be meaningless. So we could be looking at a team with 11, 12 wins under their belt. That's a significant turnaround for a Cleveland Browns team who hadn't even been able to say anything like that in a long time.
Exactly. I think it's the law of the lid. You got the business, and it's the law of the lid, but not just head coach Kevin Stefanski. It goes to the front office. Andrew Berry. Andrew Berry, general manager, was previously in Cleveland as the VP of player personnel, and he and his staff have done a tremendous job of taking the ship and making a 180 and putting it in the right direction. Talent's always been there. That's not really been an issue, except for the Sashi Brown days. But we won't discuss that unless you want to. But they have talent, and they just need someone that's going to take the talent. What is it? Bill Parcells says I stopped for the groceries, and I can't make the dinner. Well, now they have groceries per se.
Yeah.
Kevin Stefanski is making a dinner. So.
Yeah. I got to tell you, man, this is extremely interesting. I've had several guys that I've had come on the show from up there, in the Cleveland area, because I've always seen a parallel between the Browns and the Texans. And then, of course, when LeBron was there for the Cavaliers and the Indians and the Astros have had a lot of parallels. But this could be the year, man. This could be the year that Cleveland finally breaks through. So I think it's going to be interesting. Again, I'll circle that date. We'll have you back long before then, but we'll definitely have to have you back heading into that game with the Texans. Because obviously it's taken on a whole new meaning than what it had before. Let's jump over real quick to the Big Ten. I know their season is about to get started in a couple of weeks. What do you expect when they get on the field compared to what you've already seen out there with the other conferences?
Sure. I think the Big Ten right now, it's Ohio State. It used to be back in the day when it was the Big Ten, literally the 10 teams in the Big Ten. It was the Big Two and the Little Eight.
Right.
Ohio State, Michigan, and then everyone else. Now with it being 14 in the Big Ten, it's Ohio State, and then beyond that, you have Penn State, and then a little bit beyond that, Wisconsin and maybe Minnesota. But outside that, I don't. And it really, as well, with it being a 9-game season, I think it's Ohio State and everyone else at this point.
Does Ohio State run the table with it being a 9-game season? I know that's easier said than done in the Big Ten because they're playing all conference opponents. So, do they run the table?
Only game I'm really concerned with right now on paper is Week 2 at Penn State.
Okay.
Outside of that, and from what I understand, Michael Parsons, the All-American linebacker, did not choose to opt back in for the season. He chose to continue his preparation for the NFL draft, whereas Sean Wade and Wyatt Davis for the Buckeyes did return. So Ohio State has a full complement, and I don't see this team be interested in going off topic a little bit. And, this team has pretty much since last December 29th circled a rematch with Clemson in the college football playoff. And Clemson plays Miami this weekend, so that should be interesting to see if Clemson can hold serve or if Miami can.
I got Miami beating them. I'm just telling you now. I got Miami in the upset. I do. I think that Miami has just been quiet. They're not doing the typical you right now. They're just being quiet, and I think that their play is going to speak for them. This weekend. But I am with you on that rematch, man. I hated what happened with Justin Fields and a couple of the guys just getting nicked up in that game and not being able to do what I thought that they would do. And then the way the media talked about Ohio State as if they weren't what people thought they were, and even miscalculating that Justin Fields is an inaccurate quarterback. Dude completed almost 75% of his passes last year. So anybody that calls him inaccurate didn't cover Ohio State or doesn't know football.
Right. I mean, in that pass in the end zone, his receiver was bailing him out, and the receiver thought he was running.
Right.
He extended the play a little too long for the receiver, and the receiver thought, okay, he's going to run, so he vacated the pass. He vacated the area,
right.
And as soon as he did, he threw the pass. So that one pass did make or break Justin Fields. I mean, he was in New York as a Heisman Trophy finalist for a reason. I mean, 40 touchdowns and 3 interceptions.
Yeah, that's what I say, man. Folks, they go on their tablets and their phones and they look at the score and they think they know the details of the game, and that wasn't it. That kid played his tail off. Let me ask you a question real quick. Willy Gibson, broadcast journalist from Columbus, Ohio, covering the Big Ten, the Cleveland Browns, and, of course, the Ohio State University. Man, I'm a Lovie Smith fan, and I really believe that Lovie Smith should be in the NFL, but is there ever going to be a chance where he's going to turn Illinois around to where they jump up on that Minnesota, the area that Michigan has vacated, or any of those kind of levels with Illinois?
I do. I think so. I mean, it's going to take time. I mean, to borrow the Matt Patricia line, there was a lot of work to be done once he got there, and it's taking him some time. But I think he will get that program on the right track. And once he does, I mean, there's another candidate to be a contender in the Big Ten. So, I mean, he's 15-34 right now, and he's only been there. This will be year 5.
Okay.
So he's showing market improvement year after year after year. So I think it's just a matter of time. He's getting the recruits.
I was just going to ask that. Is he getting the recruits that he needs to compete on that level?
He is. I mean, look at he's improved every year. 3-9, 2-10, 4-8, 6-7. He went from 6th, 7th, 7th to 4th in the West. So he's getting improvement. He's getting the recruits. Once he finally gets, and this would be the first year where it's a full complement of his recruits. So now that he has that, with the continued success that they're building upon, I think it's going to be, again, the glass is filling up. or I won't say it's half full, it's filling up for Lovie Smith in Champaign.
Yeah. Willie, before we go, got to get you out of the Big Ten real quick. Jump down to the Big 12. The heck is wrong with UT? What the heck is wrong with Tom Herman? Why is he always close but not good enough? It's one thing when he was at University of Houston. You know, you don't have the players, you don't have that. But he was supposed to be the guy that could get UT and all their money and all their recruits. I mean, UT almost recruits itself. And the dude just keeps coming up short. What's the deal there?
Man, I say this every time I'm on. Should have called Columbus. You called Houston. Should have called Columbus. They would have told you the real. They would have told you the real when it comes to Tom Herman. I think for him, and I very rarely say this about coaches or anyone in position, I think the job's too big for him. But at the same time, how do you fault him for taking it? He's just not ready for. Houston was great. A group of 5 teams, they came in and he had success. He was the offensive coordinator here at Ohio State for 3 years, and they won a national championship. Well, everyone here knows that was Urban Meyer's offense. You were offensive coordinator in title only. He did work well with the quarterback. J.T. Barrett, Cardell Jones, he did very well with them. But I think for him, I think that job is just too big for him. And I think, I was talking to someone this week, and they asked who would be a good fit for UT, and it's like, honestly, Matt Campbell for Iowa State. He's an Ohio guy. He's done a lot to turn around Iowa State. I think he's ready. Browns spoke with him prior to hiring Freddie Kitchen last year or 2 years ago. So he's, young coach, up and coming. PJ Fleck in Minnesota. He's a young up and coming coach, and I'm kind of outside candidate, if you will, is Luke Fickell, former Buckeye at Cincinnati, is doing great things there. So if you were to look at, I know Tom Herman just got the extension, but those Red McComb pockets can take care of a buyout at UT, I believe. And but those 3 guys become out of some people to look at.
Yeah, Willy Gibson joining us, broadcast journalist from Columbus, Ohio, covers the Buckeyes, covers the Big Ten at Cleveland, talking about Tom Herman down at University of Texas, who, lied. I'm sorry, I know everybody, all coaches lie, but this dude, man, he's kissing kids on the mouth and telling them that he's all for them, getting grills and all that with them, and then flat out lies to them and us in the media that he hadn't even interviewed for the UT job. Then the next day he gets introduced at the UT job, which you never interviewed for. And now you're getting what you paid for. Because I remember the then athletic director for UT said, we got our man. You did. You just didn't realize how you got your man. And Red McComb, I will never forget when Charlie Strong got that job, Red McComb coming out and saying that Charlie Strong would be more suited as a coordinator, but not a head coach at a school like UT. I'll leave the racist part of it alone because all you got right now is a coordinator. You got a offensive coordinator from a school where all he was doing was calling what the head coach implemented. So you got your man, you got your coordinator, and it couldn't happen to a better group of people in my mind than Tom Herman, then Red McComb, and then that former athletic director down there at UT. And I know that's shade, but baby, I don't throw shades, I throw eclipses.
There it is.
So, interestingly enough, though, you named a number of people. You didn't name any minority candidates. Who, in your mind, it would be a real good minority candidate, not for the UT job, but just in general?
In college?
Yeah.
Man, that's a great question. I'm not as familiar with the landscape of coaching on the college level, but one person here locally in Columbus, he's interviewed for a few jobs. He was running back coach Tony Alford.
Okay.
Has a very, very, very close relationship with this group. Look at the running backs at Ohio State the last few years, and J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah.
Ezekiel Elliott prior to. He's had great success with his running backs, and this year he has two. Trey Sermon, the graduate transfer from Oklahoma, is looking to do great things, looking to do big things, and then Master Teague, who personally I'm not the biggest fan of, but he's loved here for various reasons. But I wish him well. But I think Trey Sermon is going to do some things. The graduate transfer, and I think Tony Alford is doing some things very, very well here at Ohio State.
I appreciate those names, man. I definitely, from that area. I'm an Ohio boy, so I love hearing we got some good folks up there doing some great things, man. Willie, we got to shut it down a little early today, but tell everybody where they can find you, follow you, and all the great work that you do as a broadcast journalist up there in the Midwest.
I appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity. Facebook, it's Willie, Willy, Gibson, Gibson. IG and Twitter, same, Will Gibson 7, WILLGIBSON, the number 7.
Hey man, next Thursday, can we have you back and you be on video with us? I need to send a little something with the Arizona iced tea money.
Well, listen, that won't be rejected. So we'll receive that with Thanksgiving, and but yeah, we'll take care of that.
Willy Gibson, you are the best in the world, bro. I mean that sincerely, man, when I say you are the best in the world. Willy Gibson, y'all. Tell the whole family we say hello up there, Willie. We'll talk to you soon.
My God, appreciate you. Look forward to it.
All right, Willy Gibson, broadcast journalist up there covering the Big Ten and, of course, the Ohio State University and the Cleveland Browns. He was right. He jumped on Cleveland early, and it wasn't fandom. It was just facts, and it's starting to play out. They're 3-1. Got a quality win over the Dallas Cowboys that they had to hold the Cowboys off and win a high-scoring affair, and that's not stuff that we usually saw out of the Browns. So I got to give Willie all the credit in the world on that. And then he's been 100% on top of the Big Ten deciding not to play and why, and then the Big Ten decided to come back and why. And we're just blessed to have him. I appreciate him taking and making time for us here on the show. All right, let me take my final break, and then we'll come back with more to wrap it up right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. It is Throwback Thursday.
I'm Gary Bledsoe, Texas NAACP president. In my lifetime, we have worked and sacrificed to make real progress.
That's right, Gary. I'm Claude Cummings, Vice President of the Communication Workers of America. Our community is under attack again.
Our jobs are being exported. The court system has largely turned its back on us, and people need to realize, Claude, is the last election amounts to a true revolution, where all those gains in civil rights and human progress are actually being targeted.
I know powers in Washington want to deny health care to working people who have pre-existing conditions, eliminate environmental protections for minority communities. It even encourages racism.
We thought those days were gone.
Dr. King said the time is always right to do what is right.
Let's do what's right. Let's vote and get your family and friends to vote, too. If you don't, you should not be surprised to see drastic changes in your world.
Vote early or on election day.
Political advertising paid for by the Communications Workers of America.
I'm going to tell you how you can get real health insurance for as little as $6 a day. Yes, now you can get affordable health insurance for you and your family immediately, starting at just $6 a day. And coverage is guaranteed regardless of your medical condition. That's right, for about $6 a day, you can have guaranteed health insurance. And there's dental, vision, and prescription coverage too. You owe it to yourself and your family to make this free call right now and learn more. There are no deductibles, no waiting period, no contracts, and coverage is guaranteed. Call National Health right now for your risk-free, guaranteed health insurance quote, starting at just $6 a day. Call now.
800-797-0921. 800-797-0921. 800-797-0921. That's 800-797-0921. Paid for by GoHealth.
You're home. You're a diabetic. You need supplies, but you don't want to visit the pharmacy. What do?
Call US Med for home delivery of your supplies. If you have diabetes and you're worried about going to a crowded pharmacy, pick up the phone in the safety and comfort of your home and let US Med deliver them to you with free shipping. And now if you test your blood sugar 4 more times a day and inject insulin 3 or more times a day, you may qualify to get a new continuous glucose monitor at little or no cost, which may eliminate the pain of pricking your fingers and helps you make smarter diabetes decisions. Plus, we'll send you a 90-day supply and bill your insurance company for you. Get some peace of mind. Call US Med today.
800-417-0851. 800-417-0851. That's 800-417-0851.
The Lunch Break on the legendary KYOK.
Don't forget, early voting starts October the 13th. It'll last through October the 30th. And if you watched that vice president debate last night, it should, regardless of which side you're on, it should spur you to want to vote. And I keep asking the question for those who say that their vote doesn't count and there's no sense in voting because it doesn't matter and what have you. If your vote doesn't count, why are people working so hard to suppress it? Why are people working so hard to make it hard for you to vote if you choose to do so? And I mean, not just here in Houston, I'm talking about all around the country. They are making it hard for people that look like you and me to want to vote. Why? Your vote counts. Your vote matters. Cast it. I don't care if you have to wait in line. I don't care if you have to curbside vote. Do whatever you got to do. If you want to request a ballot by mail, because there was just a ruling that went down that said that here in the state of Texas, they cannot send out mail-in ballots to all of the folks in different parts, including Harris County. Why are they making it so hard to vote if your vote doesn't count? Vote. If you need a mail-in ballot, the last day to apply for it is October the 23rd, and the last day for that to be able to be received is Election Day, November the 3rd. Vote, vote, vote. That's all I got to say. Just vote, all right? I tell you that the comments that I'm hearing after the election, I'm still hearing people talking about Kamala Harris's attitude and the smirk on her face. Listen, those misogynistic, racist undertone comments, those things are no longer going to work. They'll work in a particular base, but all it's doing is energizing people like me to make sure folks get to the polls. You know, when Mike Pence, looked at Kamala Harris and told her that she was not entitled to alternate facts and not telling the truth. There has not been one administration that has lied more than this one, Mike Pence included. Vote, 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 vote. You're not going to keep disrespecting black women. You're not going to keep undermining and minimizing black people. You're not going to keep thinking that all black people are voting because they're liberals. No, I'm an independent. And I'm voting because I don't believe in what's going on right now is the best for our country. And there are more of us that are speaking up in ways that you can't imagine. So keep playing games with us. We'll be quiet. All that is true. Care more about your buildings and your small businesses. Care more about pro-life and all that. We're just going to go to the polls and you'll hear from us in November. How about that? Early voting, October 13th through the 30th. Early voting, October 13th through the 30th. All right. There you go. I had to get that out. All right. Tennessee Titans are in trouble, man. Tennessee Titans are in trouble. They are now talking about them forfeiting games because Tennessee has, on multiple occasions, violated COVID-19 safety protocols. They apparently had a workout in a facility that they were not supposed to work out in when their facility was shut down due to COVID outbreaks. And the league is now literally looking at them forfeiting games because of their disobedience. And I'm not against it. There are other teams that have had positive COVID-19 tests. I'm not getting ready to say the league is in trouble. I'm not getting ready to say the season is in trouble, but you got to send a clear and present message to these coaches, to these players, and to these organizations that this is not going to be tolerated. Again, it's just like what I said about voting. You got people who are literally supposedly over the COVID-19 safety response that doesn't believe in the science, and they're sitting up there lying and saying, we're going to follow the science. You won't even follow your own scientists. You won't even put on a mask. Your wife running up there with no mask on her face. Who was she sitting by? Oh, yeah, and by the way, you were by a man that has COVID-19, and there are 10, 12, 14, 15 other people that have COVID-19. These players, these coaches, these owners, if they're not going to do it, penalize them to the highest extent of the rules. John Gruden in Las Vegas with the Raiders is a disgrace when it comes to maintaining the COVID-19 protocols. I don't give a doggone about his contract. Y'all gave him $100 million. That don't mean people have to get sick because he's making $100 million trying to win a football game. Other people's lives are at stake when these coaches and when these players and when these organizations don't do the right thing. So penalize them, make them lose games, forfeit games, all that. $100,000 fine for the coaches, $200,000 fine for the teams, and make them lose draft picks. Go all out. If Roger Goodell is serious about player safety, COVID-19 and all that, hit him. And I mean hit him without exception. I don't care if it's New England. Hit him. But John Gruden is a disgrace. You're supposed to be the head man. Where's Mike Mayock talking about John Gruden like he talked about Antonio Brown? Remember how he talked about Antonio Brown when he was having all those issues back and forth? Talk about John Gruden like that. He's a disgrace. You're the head man. You should be respectful. Folks should be able to look at you and find, well, I guess I know why that ain't happening. It ain't happening in the country, let alone will it be happening in these billion-dollar organizations. I hope the NFL gets them all. I hope they get them all. All right, real quick. Now I'll do it tomorrow. I was going to go down my picks again for the NFL season. I was going to go down my picks real quick. Let me see if I can get them in real quick. Tonight, I've got Tampa Bay over Chicago, although I expect it to be a good game. I expect it to be a good game. I literally was going to have that one as my upset special. I've got Baltimore beating Cincinnati. I've got Jacksonville losing to Houston. I've got Tennessee, watch this, Tennessee beating Buffalo, handing them their first loss. I've got Cleveland winning at home against the Colts. Dallas beating the Giants. Carolina losing to Atlanta. I got Atlanta beating Carolina. Kansas City beating the drums off of Vegas. Arizona beating the Jets. Pittsburgh beating Philly. The Rams beating Washington. San Francisco, if they don't start Bobby Beathard, if they come out there with that Nick Mullins dude, shame on San Francisco. I got San Francisco beating Miami. New Orleans beating Denver. Seattle beating Minnesota. New Orleans beating the Chargers. Final score in that New Orleans Charger game, I'm going to give that one 30-27. 30-20. Now I'll go 30-20. 30-20 in that New Orleans Chargers game. So there you go. Those are my picks. All right, let me get ready to go. I got to get Sybil Wilkes on here with her COVID-19 update. Donnie McClurkin is up next with the Donnie McClurkin Show. He'll give you the best in gospel music, latest in the gospel music industry. Donnie does his thing every Monday through Friday from 2 to 3. And then, of course, in the morning, you got Sybil Wilkes along with Griff and Get Up Mornings. And then your boy will be back with Freestyle Friday. And I'm trying to get confirmation on some very special guests tomorrow. We'll see if we can get it worked out. If not, it'll be you, me hanging out tomorrow for Freestyle Friday. As always, let's not be divided. Let's be united. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it except wear your mask. I got mine. Tired of walking in in businesses that say mask required, and you got people strolling in there with no masks on. But again, that's a direct relationship from the top down. You know, they want to bring up swine flu from 2008, 2009. Are you kidding me? 200,000 plus people have died from coronavirus. So you want to bring up swine flu? Vote, people. Vote. 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 And then, of course, wash your hands 30 seconds or more. Sanitize everything around you. Be sensitive to everybody around. Give people 6 feet. And when you see racism, kill it. Not the person, the racism. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good rest of the day. We'll talk to you later. Here's Sybil Wilkes.
It's Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know today about the coronavirus. The National Football League and Players Association have announced Wednesday that 11 NFL players and 15 staff members have tested positive for COVID-19 last week. The NFL's chief medical officer, Dr. Alan Sills, said in a recent interview, the league will not rule out pausing the season after the recent positive cases. So far, the NFL has postponed 2 games this season due to positive COVID-19 tests. Stephen Miller, top policy advisor to Donald Trump, recently announced he has tested positive for coronavirus. He is the latest member of the president's team caught in an outbreak at the White House. At least 10 others have tested positive. Casual dining chain Ruby Tuesday has filed for bankruptcy, overcome by the financial pressures brought on by the pandemic. The nearly 50-year-old company filed for Chapter 11 with the intention of reducing its debt and operating as usual while it navigates the process. Please visit SybilWilkes.com to subscribe to my free daily newsletter. Be informed, be empowered.
He died for you and me. Jesus. Get it alive.
All right, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. I really enjoyed it. Got to thank Garrick Jones for coming on and for being awesome like he is. I'm telling you, man. Click on that link at the top of the page. And, if you haven't signed the petition, you don't have to contribute. Just sign the petition. That's something that the vote.org company is doing. But sign the petition and be sure to share it, because we want Garrick Jones to have a fair shot to be the next general manager of the Houston Texans. And if not the Texans, then somebody in the NFL. Great dude. And then I want to thank Willy Gibson for coming on, always being a great dude. I want to thank God for y'all, man. Y'all are the best, and I mean that sincerely. Again, not this, definitely this. I do. I love y'all. And give Jackson State some love. Give Jackson State some love. You're trying to find a school for your child, your niece, your nephew, your grandchild. Jackson State and HBCUs. Give them a look. All right? Give them a look. Y'all be blessed. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Lord say the same. Freestyle Friday, y'all. Talk to you later.